Welcome back to another episode of the rare double audio intro for Nerfherders Assemble.
Why does it do that? Why was it?
We,
Why does?
it's probably because you have your audio sharing on ready for the
Oh, maybe
trailers and
that's
all that
probably it. That's probably it.
shit. What's up, Nerfherders? Welcome back to the show. It is time yet again to assemble. It's been a little bit. Yeah, we just don't get together every week. You know, we want to make it special for you. And we're waiting for good shit to happen. Well, we've waited plenty of time, and a lot of really good shit's happened. A lot of crazy stuff's happened too, and we're here to talk about it. Josh, how are we doing today?
A lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
I'm good, man. It's another day in the world, and what is today? It's today Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
This
September
week has
13th.
just been. This month has just been going by, man. I feel like time is slipping away from me, and I don't have enough time to do what I need to do. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of entertainment stuff. And so, yeah, when you were like, hey, you want to get together and talk this week? I was like, yes, I got stuff to talk about. Not really go in depth about, but at least talk about. So, yeah.
I'm not quite as caught up as you are, but I would argue that I'm probably more caught up than I normally am.
Sure.
Which is it's a paradox, but you know what? That's what we're here for. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Like, I'm actually posting on Twitter somewhat frequently these days for the Nerfherders Assemble crew, like specifically for Nerfherders crew. That's where you can find at Nerfherders crew. You can find us there. I'm replying to random stuff. I'm tweeting out to random shit that I see. Normally when I'm looking for stories, I'm running through Twitter every now and then too, just to kind of get a beat on how everybody's feeling about things. And you know what? Now I'm replying. So we jumped right in there. And I forgot to post that we were going live. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, tell them.
You can find us on, if you want to have a conversation with me directly or something like that, tweet it at me or hit us up in those comments below as usual. But yeah, let's kick things. Okay, you're gonna start off with stuff I haven't seen. Here we go.
That's right. Well, and you're not gonna see it because you're not a horror person. So I feel confident in
Fair enough.
I figured I'd drop this off at the top. This is
Fair point.
Maddie and I went to the Alamo Draft House this weekend. We haven't been there in a long time. We've been going out to this other theater instead, but we went to the Alamo to see Barbarian. And the main reason Maddie went to see it was because of this guy right here. She's a little obsessed.
Big into Bill Skarsgård, huh?
Big into Bill Skarsgård. And the reason I went to see it is because a lot of people had spoke this movie up. I mean, a lot. And I have been doing this thing where when I play the trailer, if the first 10 seconds grab me, I turn off the trailer. So I went into this movie having no idea what it was about. I'd avoided all spoilers, and I'd only seen 10 seconds of the trailer. And the 10 seconds of the trailer is what the description of this movie is. Basically, this girl, Tess, rents an Airbnb. When she gets there, this slightly creepy guy, played by Bill Skarsgård, has booked it on another app, and it may or may not be in a sketchy part of town, and she has to decide either go back in her car on a stormy night or go inside and try to work something out with this guy. And horror things ensue. And I will tell you, without spoiling it, there were so many changes in this film. I didn't know what was going to happen. Like every about 10, 15 minutes in this film, something changes. And I was like, wait, what? So my predictions for this film were blown out of the water 12 minutes in, and then I was just like, I had no idea what was coming. So if you're into horror and you want something that'll beat your prediction radar, go see this because it was fantastic.
So I find it funny because like the day that you texted me about this, you sent me this and you told me about the Netflix movie that's like the romance version of the same thing.
Yeah.
I had somebody in my Facebook post the screen for the movie with their review, and I want to read it for you because it's going to piss you off.
As long as it's not spoilery.
No, this movie is straight garbage. If I had to rate it 1 out of 10, I would give it a -37.
Hmm.
I was 100% into seeing this movie based on the trailer. The premise sounded amazing. They sold it as a fantastic thriller with some creepy vibes, then turned it into the movie Wrong Turn set in a basement. This
Hmm.
is the epitome of why I've fallen out of favor with horror movies over the last 5 years. I wish movie makers would treat us like we have a brain and have some intelligence. Save your money. Don't go see this.
See, I heard that exact same review, except the final sentence was, "I went in to see Conan the Barbarian, and Conan wasn't in this film." And I it made me
Okay, so
laugh. It made me laugh. But fuck off that person, because that's the most bullshit review ever. This was very well done. It was creepy as hell. The fact that the what it's not like the trailer lies to you, it's the trailer keeps things from you so that you honestly don't know where it's going. And I loved that so much. I don't know if there's a second trailer. I don't know if there's a third trailer. All I know is that I saw the first half of the first trailer and then I turned it off. But it's great. I loved it. It was great. It threw me. And I'm sorry, but modern horror is usually just slasher shit that you can
yeah,
you just know what's going to happen 10 moves before it happens, and it's boring and it's lazy, and this was neither boring nor lazy. And when I got done with it, I was just like, all right, man, I was not expecting that and I was happy. So that's me.
that's good. That's. I mean, that's what I would. That's what I would hope for, and especially for a movie where, I mean, well, you didn't watch the trailer, but um, yeah, if the trailer sells me on something, that's kind of the problem with trailers now is they'll sell you on one thing and then deliver something completely different because they're in this world of making sure that they're not giving out spoilers, which is
Sure.
good. Like that's the direction I wanted to see it go, especially around Marvel and Star Wars stuff. But at the same time, it's like if you're selling the wrong product, that could be an
or
issue.
or the studio is so disconnected from the trailer company that they
Right.
spoil it,
Right.
and they do that more often than not. So I just
Which is a problem because they're the ones giving the footage to these people making these trailers to do it. So
right,
it's like, hey,
right.
you have control over what you give them, right? Like,
So I really do avoid trailers, which is kind of sad because I used to really get into trailers, and then I just kept on getting burned and burned and burned, and now I feel like I get more joy out of the film if I just don't see any of the trailers. So,
which
um,
actually
yeah.
leads to an interesting point that I was gonna make at some point. I don't even know if I was gonna do it publicly or not, but like this channel, obviously, we got started doing trailer reactions. That was where this channel like started.
Hmm.
Um, that was a big part of the content for it, but um, I mean, lately, especially over like the last couple years, I don't know. So I watch trailer reaction channels and I
Hmm.
see people absolutely losing their minds to trailers and freaking out at reveals or minor details and stuff that come out. And for me, like I'm not really that animated, so it doesn't really come out quite that much. So it's whenever I have recorded a trailer reaction for a shitload of trailers over the last couple years, and I've released very few of them because like I'll watch them and I'll be like, I wouldn't watch this person react to this trailer. Like I wouldn't watch me react to a trailer again. And it could be just because it's me, but at the same time, I'm not that animated. And
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like how much do I want to speculate on a movie that's coming out and try and like put together a bunch of guesses about what's going to go down based off of the information that I've been given, and then either be ultimately disappointed because it wasn't what I was hoping that it would be, or possibly be disappointed because like the movie just ends up not being that great and I hyped myself up for it, or it ends up being really good and like the trailer had absolutely nothing to do with the way that the movie went because they're trying to like divert you from getting any of that information. And so like I've
Hmm.
been less motivated to actually like react to trailers, and honestly I've been happier just watching them
Yeah.
when they come out. But having said that, we're watching some today. Like I did wait.
Hmm.
um
And I don't, and to be fair, I don't not watch trailers, but I do tend to watch the first trailer. And some studios you can trust, like we're
right
gonna watch the
right
trailer for Secret Invasion, and I I trust that Disney and Marvel isn't going to give everything away in the first trailer. You know, they're pretty good about that. You know, same way with Christopher Nolan. He plays things
It's
close to the
notorious. Yeah.
vest. He's not going to give it away in his first trailer. So when I go to the movie theaters, it's not like I'm like, oh, don't look, you know, but when a studio is putting out trailer 5 or TV spot anything, I don't have TV, but I just avoid that. But yeah, I'll be excited. We're gonna watch some trailers today, but we got a couple other things to talk about first. By the way, I almost wanted to talk about everything that happened at TIFF over the last like week and a half from the Harry Styles spit incident. I don't know if you followed any of that.
I saw something about it, and like every single time the clip comes up, I'm looking and I'm like, I don't see him spitting.
It's more about Chris
Like
Pine's reaction and how perfectly it's timed that it could be a spit. Like there's it's not the greatest
yeah, but
camera.
I could never see it. And also, if I got spit on, that wouldn't be my reaction. I'd be like, dude, you just fucking spit on me. Like I would have said something.
Chris
Like
is a
even
professional, but who knows what happened? Obviously, they haven't come out and said yes, he did. I think Chris Pine's producer or agent came out and said that didn't happen. I wouldn't expect them to say if it did or not. Other than that, the other big thing out of TIFF was that Brendan Fraser is just getting all kinds of love. His new film with Darren Aronofsky called The Whale, I guess, got really good praise, and that dude is just on a renaissance, and I'm so happy for him. I think that's, just hearing the shit that he went through. I would never expect someone like that to come back, and he did, and sadly, another one of his films, Batgirl, got erased, but maybe that's for the best. But apparently, this film, The Whale, is really good, so I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, to find out that he basically like destroyed his body,
Right.
making the Mummy movies and various other stunt work and stuff like that. In and out of the hospital, constantly having to deal with all that shit, and then a mess of other mental issues. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, it sucks.
I don't know why I still have Barbarian up here. I'm going to have one more off the top, and then we'll go into things. Paramount, I saw this article come out this afternoon. Paramount is considering shutting down Showtime and migrating its content over to Paramount Plus. This rings very similar to what WB Discovery is considering doing with HBO Max. So this isn't unheard of, and especially with any company that has a streaming thing, Paramount Plus has kind of been up and down with its numbers and its amount of content. But this is interesting because Showtime, granted, I don't have cable, but it's not just an online thing, isn't it? Like, isn't Showtime also still a channel?
Yeah, I have direct knowledge of this. It's still a premium cable channel. In the company that I work for, it's part of that packaging. So you it's like right up there with like HBO and Cinemax and stuff like that.
So I wonder if they would. I mean, when you read that, shutting down Showtime, that sounds like not just shutting down the online version of Showtime. That sounds like shutting down Showtime.
It makes sense. This is something that I've actually talked about several times, but like coming from my side of it, like I can see those numbers. Cable subscriptions are down. They're continuously going down. And the majority of cable subscriptions did not have those premium movie channels anyway. Like they had the basic stuff already.
Right.
And so with more people cutting the cord, I think you're going to see more of this. I think this is really just kind of like a straight to the point version of what HBO has been doing between like Discovery and all that stuff for a while now, to where it's like, hey, doesn't really make sense for us to have like 14 different premium services going on right now.
Sure.
Let's just go ahead and consolidate. Let's knock it down, make things easier. And I mean, shows are like, even the shows that they're doing are popping up on other like neighboring networks left and right through like contract agreements and stuff like that. So this really isn't that surprising to me that they would actually just call it Showtime Paramount or something like that, or just leave the brand on there, or just eliminate the brand completely. I don't think anybody's particularly attached to the brand Showtime.
That's what it seems to suggest, that there's literally shutting down the brand and bringing the stuff. And if you're wondering, if you're not up to date with Showtime, their popular shows of late have been Billions. I haven't seen a lot of these shows, but I at least recognize the titles. Yellow Jackets was big.
I think Dexter was like a big one for Showtime.
Yeah,
for
I
a
did
long
watch
time.
that one. The Chi. I recognize the first three. Fall premieres on the premium service include American Gigolo. I did see that. That's the remake with what's his name, the Punisher,
John Bernthal. Yeah,
John
I
Bernthal.
saw a clip of that, and it was actually kind of intriguing.
Yeah, Let the Right One In is a series version of the popular film, and the return of Your Honor and the L Word. So they do have some stuff, but the difference between this and WB Discovery is that they may be merging HBO Max and and Discovery Plus into a new service. They're not going to let go of HBO. HBO is still a strong enough channel on its own. They're not shutting that down. But this seems to suggest that they're shutting down the channel Showtime, not just the online presence of Showtime. So that'll be interesting if that happens. It's not confirmed yet, but it is rumored to be happening. So
honestly, this is just a buyout of a bigger name.
Sure.
Stuff like this happens, especially in the cables industry, all the time,
Sure.
where networks will change around. Having those show properties move to, like, it would actually be a smart move, especially in this day where they have a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Paramount has a lot of shows, like we get readouts on all the time. Paramount has a lot of shows that people are still regularly watching.
Mm-hmm.
Paramount, I think the channel itself is hosting a lot of content that old Spike TV used to have.
Yep.
For a while, like that was another one that kind of got ate up by this sort of the same things. Just Spike TV wasn't like a paid premium cable channel.
And then they have Paramount has their own original series. Here's the 1883, Halo, which we've talked about. All the Star Trek series. Tulsa King is that new one with Sylvester Stallone.
I'm gonna tell them now that Halo isn't adding anything to their market price as far as I'm concerned. But
Yellowstone is a big thing. Yeah. And I'm sure they've already. Reminds me. I totally forgot this. They already rebranded from CBS All Access. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? So
I didn't even hear that one. So
yeah, it did not do well. So I think they're probably saying, hey, this is a streaming thing. We really need to keep doing whatever we can to stay on top of this, because streaming isn't a guarantee success. There's so many streaming options now. So
it's a bit of a gamble, but at the same time, when you're losing money from premium cable already, and bringing them up to a streaming service at the same time anyway, like, I mean, if you're going to save by like consolidating those services, you're going to see more of this. We're going to see a lot more of this. Because streaming is absolutely taking over at this point. Like there was no denying it before, but there's definitely no denying it now. This is the trajectory for a lot of networks going forward.
Speaking of streaming, I want to get these out of the way first, because we're only a few episodes into them, and I think we'll have more to talk about with the Emmys and D23 and stuff like that.
Sure. No, maybe not so much Emmys. The Emmys didn't hit me too hard this year, but
we could just chat a little bit. But Amazon has its fantasy prequel series in the Lord of the Rings of Power. I think 3 episodes have come out on that so far. And HBO has its prequel fantasy series in House of the Dragon. That is 4 episodes in. It is kind of crazy to me that they decided to come out at the same time, because you cannot help but compare them. Like, it is they come out a couple days apart, and they're both prequel fantasy series, and they're both based in heavy lore, and they both have pretty big fan bases from the previous properties. It's hard for me not to compare them. And when I do compare them, I would honestly say House of the Dragon is the stronger property so far, because the first 4 episodes, without getting into spoilers of this show, have been amazing. And I think her name is Miley Alcott or Alcock. This gal right here, she is stealing the show. She's absolutely fantastic.
Millie Alcott.
Millie Alcott. Okay, I love her. She's great, and I don't know. I haven't seen her in anything else before, but it's got a hell of a cast. It's got a hell of a good story, and they really needed this to be good after the fallout of season 8 of Game of Thrones. And I'm very impressed with this, and I wanted to get your thoughts if you've had a chance to see this show so far.
So I have not. Unfortunately, trying to get schedules around for everything that me and CC, like when there's a show that's come out, we want to watch it together. Like that's kind of our time to sort of share something.
Sure.
And her schedule's been crazy. My schedule's been crazy. Trying to get everything, kind of like nailed away before summer's over at this point. So I'm caught up on She-Hulk. I'm caught up on Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I leaned towards Rings of Power this time. Like we had a choice between the two because, like you said, they released right around the same time. I leaned towards the Lord of the Rings universe because that's closer to my fandom than Game of Thrones, especially after like I got into Game of Thrones late, and so I binged through like a whole whole mess of that series, and then got to the end of it, and I was like, wow, okay. So I mean, granted, I'm happy that I didn't like invest however 10 years of 8 years or something like that in my life to that show.
Yeah.
But I was a little apprehensive to jump into either prequel series. It really wasn't. I really had no fucking frame of which way to go. We might as well just flipped a coin, and we went with Lord of the Rings first. And so far, yeah.
Well, tell me what you think of Lord of the Rings then, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones.
Well, it's I don't want to say wildly uninteresting, but that's like the first phrase that comes to mind right off the bat. Like I see a lot of people freaking out about like various aspects of it, like especially like a lot of people pulling the race bullshit, which I don't get. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like my biggest issue with it so far is that I don't have an issue with anything, because it's like, but I also don't have it. Like there's nothing that I'm like crazy into at the moment. Like it's just kind of like happening. And that's sort of the end of it. Like I'm not attached to any of the characters so far, which is already kind of tough to do when you're dealing with a prequel series where you kind of like know a rough idea of like the fates of everybody. When I was watching the trailers, like I didn't know who was going to be who. I did not look into this show. And so when I found out, like spoilers, that it's Galadriel, who's kind of the main character, not even really the main character, like kind of the main character.
One
like,
of
big ensemble
several.
show.
Yeah.
Like it's a messy ensemble right now, and it's like, okay, well, what's happening? And it's like, yeah, it really is just kind of a prequel to the Rings of Power coming into prominence, and like I can tell the direction that they're going based off of my reading history of Lord of the Rings. Like you had Celebrimbor show up in like the second episode or something like that. I was like, okay, well, and he's putting together a forge that's gonna be crazy, and like we're 3 episodes in, and I feel like I could talk about the show completely fully, and it really wouldn't be spoiling anything because like nothing's happening that you wouldn't assume was going to happen based off of the title alone. Like it's very clear that this is like right before the rings come into prominence, and a bunch of shit happens. Now, granted, I haven't read the Silmarillion front to back. I've read pieces of it based off of like research that I wanted to do about other characters back in the day. Like it was a long time ago. So I don't know if they're holding true to any accuracy or anything like that. But so I can't argue with anybody when they're talking about how, it's not Tolkien or something like that. Like,
well, here's the thing on that point. Here's the thing. So first of all, you've watched all 3 episodes, right?
Yes.
All right, we're not going to get into the details of the episode, so if you're listening to this, don't worry about it. Here's the deal. Amazon paid $250 million for the rights to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. They did not get the rights to the Silmarillion. So this show can't have anything to do with that book, which is arguably the most well-known and read prequel to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The only thing,
if you can call it that, like
yeah, but
it's
still,
kind of like
it
it's
is.
almost like it's almost an encyclopedia.
Sure, but I mean that's the same thing that Game of Thrones is doing. They're basing their show off a book that was more a history lesson,
Right.
not really a full-fledged story. But so this Rings of Power series is apparently 5 seasons long. They've committed to 5 seasons, but they're not allowed to tell that story. They can only touch stories that were mentioned in The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings books, or the appendices of those books. So they paid so much money and yet they have so much limitations. It's kind of baffling. But I will say this, that the money you can see on screen, it looks beautiful. I don't think I've seen one review that says this show looks like shit.
It looks great.
It looks
Like
great.
cinematically, like they've done a really good job. The CGI, like I'm kind of getting over it with CGI in
Sure.
just about everything at this point, but like they did a good job there too.
Sure.
Yeah, you can't fault them for like the technical aspects of it, but like the content is
the problem, because the first episode of anything, I don't care if you're connected to a big property, you're a brand new show, you're a sitcom, you're whatever. That's got to be the thing that brings you in. And it literally put me to sleep. And I'm using literally correctly. It put me to sleep. They had so much content that they dropped, so many characters, so much stuff on screen, so many wink wink moments. You know who this is? You know who this is? And all of this stuff happening in one episode with no real direction. And then that bled into the second episode. And while the second episode was more entertaining, because we watched both episodes the first night, they dropped both episodes. The second episode was better. It still lacked direction. And now we're into the third episode, and there's a hint of direction, but there's still just piling stuff on. And I would think if you've committed up front to 5 seasons, you wouldn't feel the need to throw everything at the screen in the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
Spread that shit out. Pick a couple. I mean, granted, The Lord of the Rings had a ton of characters, but they were all in the same drive, and they didn't jump around too much until later on in the story. So this, I mean, it was just like elves, dwarves, these they're not hobbits, but they're the hobbits over here. It was just jumping all over so much, and different tones and different, I was just there's so much that I couldn't feel like I was rooting for anybody, or like there was a story that I was invested in, because they're not spending enough time on the stories of these individual things. And there's just so much happening that I could sit here and talk about it for 20 minutes and not cover it all, because there's so much happening at once. And we're only 3 episodes in. It just feels jumbled and messy.
That's kind of, yeah, that's it. That's exactly where I'm at with it right now. And I mean, I'm gonna keep watching it. Like I'm gonna give it a chance. Like if I miss an episode by a few days, or have to like I don't like, there's no sense of urgency for me to like catch what's happening next. There's nothing. Like I can chill out on this.
I'm not pissed at the show. I love Lord of the Rings, so I'm definitely interested. But man, it's
there's some
straining
aspects.
Yeah.
There's some aspects where so there's a conversation between Elrond and Durin in Moria.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this was nice. Like, this was a nice conversation, because it was like dealing with like the dynamic of being friends with an immortal being, basically.
Right.
And kind of like the impact of what what your time to somebody else would mean and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, there's some hints there. Like that's an interesting character history that we haven't, like, we saw a glimpse of it in the second episode and we just burned through the entire third episode and neither one of them showed up again.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, one of the things that I was the most interested in, you've now glossed over.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another interaction between the two characters that we see on the screen here. It's like where here in episode 3, like we're just now getting to it. And it's like a complete divergence off of what like the original, I mean, not a complete divergence, but it's already like kind of like branching off of what was the original goal.
Sure.
And not completely, again, like they're still kind of related, but like it's weird. It's like, hey, I mean, you guys are bouncing around like a lot here. And I completely forgot about the Harfoots already, which are like the halfling race. I'm like, there's fucking nothing. Like,
not to mention the actors of the Harfoots are so childlike that it kind of throws me every time it goes back to them. It's like the tone just keeps on kind of flopping back and forth.
And I don't know if you feel this way, but there is something about the Hobbits and the Shire in the Lord of the Rings film to where, like, obviously it was all like in the original trilogy, or like, no, I'm not talking about the Hobbit trilogy that was the most recent. I'm talking about the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
There was, because they had to use a completely different method in order to like portray the sizes of these characters to actually make them proportionate.
Right. Forced perspective and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like when they were dealing with 3D in the Hobbit, they had to completely change the game and like film everything separately, and it was a nightmare. But like they were doing like forced perspective camera tricks and stuff like that to kind of like portray the size of these characters versus a regular sized wizard.
Sure.
But even when Gandalf wasn't present in those scenes, like the characters felt like they were short, like they felt like they were Hobbit-sized people. I'm not getting that feeling with these characters.
No, well, it's like because any elements that are supposed to be bigger, they just use CGI to make them bigger.
Yeah, and that's having an impact to where having an impact where it's like, you know what, they don't feel like, it feels like another average height race, except for like some moments where, I mean, like I love the nature aspect and stuff like that, to where they're like hiding amongst bushels and stuff like that. But and like all of the plants are like wildly bigger than they are and crap like that. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, like the feeling of them, it just isn't like, they didn't hit that mark to where it was like, hey, they are obviously 3 foot something, like halflings are supposed to be. Didn't get that this time either. So even the like the short charm of those characters is gone.
So I feel like, and then we'll move on from this, but I do feel like Galadriel is supposed to be the primary main character.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I think, and I'm not saying all these storylines couldn't work in one season. It's an 8-episode season. I'm just saying we jump around too much and they throw too much of it at us at first. I think if we would just pick 1 or 2 storylines to follow in the first couple episodes, especially hers, which seems to be the most interesting, at least to me. I'm sure the other ones play into it, but I feel like if they would have just edited it differently to where they're not just, okay, every 5 minutes we jump to another story, then it might flow better. And they have announced they're about to film season 2, and the showrunner is already being switched out. So maybe season 2 will flow better, but I just feel like I'm still waiting for this show to catch its stride. And it's not that it's boring, it's just that it's messy. Whereas House Dragon is very tightly written, is moving at a brisk pace, but is making sure you're moving with it. It has different characters. It has different houses. It's whereas Lord of the Rings is like 5,000. No, Rings of Power is something like 4,000 to 5,000 years before The Hobbit. This is based 100 years.
Quite that much, but yeah.
I thought that's what I googled, that it was 4,000 to 5,000 years before Lord of the Rings. Unless that was just an estimate.
I haven't looked it up.
This show says that it's 100 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen. So, 100 years before Dany, we get this, and it is based on source material, but that source material wasn't, full-fledged books. It was more like a history telling. I don't know if you've read.
Is Martin more involved in this show than he was in the?
I don't know if he's more or less involved, but he is involved. And I think for the most part, people liked Game of Thrones when it was based on content that existed. Once they ran out of content is when most people fell off of that show. Well, this show is based on content, and most people seem to say, all right, you're doing good with that content. So
I'll have to jump into it. I'll have to jump into it here.
It's so damn good. Next. And I'll warn, because a friend of mine tried to watch it, and the first half of the first episode turned her off. I will warn you without spoiling you. They remind you of what the world is real quick, and it's a shock and awe and gore type reminder. But that's not.
It's like, hey, remember Game of Thrones? We're back.
Yeah, that's not the whole series. That's just the opener.
Well, I'm prepared for that. I watched the first one, so
yeah. All right. Well, so let's see. What do we want to talk? You want to talk about She-Hulk? That's streaming. We've both been watching that. What have you? We're 4 episodes into She-Hulk. We're halfway through.
Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way about it with Lord of the Rings. Honestly.
Oh, it's not that bad.
No. Like I don't even refer to like my reaction to that with Lord of the Rings as a bad thing. It's like it could pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there could be a turning point where it's like, hey, this is what we were building you up for. It's like we're just doing the slow burn wrong. Like who knows? Like this version of it, like again, like I'm not feeling attached to her character. I didn't give a shit about the twerking thing. Like everybody was freaking out about that, but like fucking whatever. I don't care. I feel like it was kind of ironic that there was a moment where they're like, hey, this isn't going to be a cameo every week, but there's been a cameo of some kind every week.
I think that was a joke. But yeah, it was a joke.
But it's not serving, like the cameo is not serving in a proper way. Like I would have preferred that there wouldn't be cameos every week. Like I don't need the nostalgia bait for characters that I'm already established with.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done without that. I really liked the first episode actually. The first episode I was like, hey, okay, this is a neat tone. Like I like the chemistry that she and Bruce had.
Mm-hmm.
The conversations that she had, like her justification for why she has more of a handle over the Hulk character,
mm-hmm.
Is interesting. I can understand why some people are calling it like I remember seeing somebody on Twitter calling it feminist masturbation, and I can see why they would come to that conclusion if they're like really inept about it, but yeah, there's definitely some there's definitely some MCU vibes to the show, but like that's not a bad thing. Like it belongs. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, the only
I just don't care about her character yet. Like and like I like the story. I'm like not invested in it quite yet because I'm not entirely sure what she's trying to do yet. Like she's like she doesn't want to be a hero. I got that part. She wants to be like a regular anonymous lawyer, but she like instead of like bailing out of like this crazy in the spotlight lawyer job that she has, she's just leaning into it and like complaining about it at the same time. It's like, well, fucking quit. Like you'll find another job. Like just fucking quit. And get a job as an anonymous lawyer. Like fucking find a way. Like you could find a way to do that. Like it's not impossible.
I mean, I kind of like that aspect. I'll say this. I think the first and third episodes are the strongest of the show. I feel like it's that odd even type thing. The first episode, like you said, was they really got into it quick. It was very abrupt. Oh my gosh, a drop of Bruce's blood turned her into the Hulk. But I did like
It was a
their
nice callback
chemistry.
to the movie though, where like he
Sure,
cuts his thumb in the soda factory and he's like freaking out about it. Like,
sure. And the
like
fact
yeah,
that
he
she's
knows the
related,
danger of that.
is why she could handle it and
Yeah.
everything. But I did like the chemistry in that episode. I think that was great.
I really like Tatiana Maslany. I think she's doing a good job with what she's got.
She's fantastic.
She's very entertaining.
The second episode just wasn't complete. I told it was barely 22 minutes, and it was and that's including the full opening crawl of the Marvel logo, which gets longer every time. Plus
And a
the
recap.
previously on, yeah, the recap. So it was only 22 minutes. It didn't feel like a full episode. The only thing I liked about it, see, they're clearly going for the Ally McBeal vibe, and I loved that show growing up. I thought that was great. It was kind of I love law shows. I've been binging Suits. I love stuff like that. And the only thing I liked about the second episode was that they were like, hey, yeah, you gave a great closing argument, but you're a liability now. We have to fire you because they're going to use you against us every single time. And I was like, that's actually kind of smart. And I appreciated that. And then how she was like, no one's ever going to hire her again because they know who she is. She's big now. She's popular. She can't hide the fact of what she is. So she's forced to go work for this other firm. And I did like that story aspect. I just didn't think the episode was full. Episode 3 comes around, and it's mostly it's two cases. The A story is her representing Abomination, which any time we get more of Tim Roth on screen is great. I love Tim Roth.
It was clear it's clear everybody's having a great time
Yeah.
shooting the show, and that helps a lot. Like that helps
Yeah.
push things along really well.
The B story was about Dennis Bukowski, which I don't think this show is overly feminist, but if anybody's complaining that it is, I could see that with Dennis's character.
Yeah, with that, yeah,
he's
that was the
top.
That was the point that I was gonna make, because he was like, they were blowing him out like
so
crazy.
Much. Like there was one line where he says, "There's a hot girl over there. I'm gonna go talk to it," and I'm like, there's a lot of douchebags out there, but
I know. I have never encountered I have a lot of friends. I have never encountered anybody who was making a comment like that ever. Like not even as a joke. Like I've never even even had a friend who jokes about it like that. Yeah. I think the problem with like misogyny like that is that it's normally it's kind of like racism. Like it's quiet now. Like it's under the table now.
It's under the table, which can speak volumes. It doesn't have to be that in your face.
A character like that is gonna then say the shit. Like he's gonna fucking look over his shoulder. He's gonna wait to see what's going on, and then he's gonna blow it out. Like in an accurate character like that, because they know they're being dicks. Like they know they're being assholes. Like they don't want to get caught like that. Like this guy just doesn't seem to give a shit. But at the same time, in a show about empowerment, like nobody's doing anything about it. Like nobody's checking him on it. Nobody's calling him out for it. And I think that's problematic.
They really were. And I think although I feel like that was just to build up to his role in episode 3, was that he was so misogynistic and so separated from reality that he truly believed he was dating Megan Thee Stallion. And if that is
I couldn't have given less shits about that part of this episode. Like,
but it was the B story, and it was made for laughs. And if that is the rest that we see of him, I'll be fine. If he's not a recurring character,
he's coming back.
I hope not. I feel like they were building up for that, and we've had enough of Dennis, because we have other great characters that are fine. Whatchamacallit, the assistant, Pug.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, she's great too. Nikki Ramos. I meant the law firm assistant, the guy who's like, and
gave her the gift basket.
Here's a map to the best place to take a shit and everything. He's great. I like him a lot.
That was good.
And so I felt like episode 3 was a stronger and fuller episode, and then episode 4 and again, I didn't care about the twerking thing. That's certainly not the first time we've seen a Marvel character dancing on screen for no reason. I think people were just butthurt about it because it was a female dancing.
You know, the only thing that bothers me about it is that I don't understand why she was there, because like she's getting a lawyer for somebody from the the superhero division of law. It's like, well, what's the case? Like,
well, I mean, it
it
doesn't. I could that firm is not. It has a superhero division. I doubt that firm is going to turn away a high profile client just because she's asking for that. That she could be an exception. She could be like,
yeah, I mean, it could be. It was just, yeah. I just didn't understand. Like, it was clear that like the end credit scene didn't really have anything to do with the story, and they just kind of threw it in there.
Right. They've clearly been more for laughs than extending the story.
Yeah. It was pure entertainment value. But I also was not the target for that particular scene.
Sure.
Like I wasn't the target market for that. So I also, like, me not caring doesn't matter. Like,
right.
It's not that big a deal. I'm certainly not, like, even though I've been tweeting a lot, I'm certainly not going to get on Twitter and start freaking out about it.
Sure.
Because that was
and we got a little bit of Wong in that episode, which was fun. But then episode 4 comes around and we get more Wong, and it's like,
a lot of Wong.
Do we? And I'm never against Wong. I want Wong. I want more Wongers all day.
What she said.
But this is the She-Hulk show, and
yeah,
it seemed weird that they brought him back for another episode. It was just like, oh, okay. And then how they were forcing her into it. Like, he has this thing where this magician opens up a portal to another dimension, and all these demons start attacking this auditorium, and he calls her to help him. And I was like,
makes sense to me. Like,
I get she's
Wong,
on retainer for you, but what does she have to do with this? And is she really the best person to help you fix this problem? You're the
Wong,
Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme. Like,
if you can't do it, don't you have a whole school of like wizards and shit that could come help you?
Call up Baron Mordo. He's been stealing powers from people left and right. If anybody needs them ripped off,
Doctor Strange, or anybody. You're telling me there's nobody that was better than a tall woman that can catch them? Like, that is all she did. She caught him and she threw him. Was she really the first person on you? So that was kind of dumb. What's her name?
He should have hit up Spider-Man. We're right around the same time frame, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know. It's like Spider-Man's webs would have been great for it. Even if you didn't know who Peter Parker was, you would have known about Spider-Man.
Right.
Man, I need some webs. Help me out, bro.
Who was the joke character of episode 4? Madison with
2 N's and 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
I mean,
she was funny.
She had some funny moments. And she saved the episode.
I think they fucking like confirmed Mephisto in her episode too.
Oh, did
she was dealing with like a devil character. She was dealing like a devil character in this alternate dimension. A goat got her out.
That's right.
Like, there's a bunch of people freaking out. Like, Mephisto confirmed.
Yeah.
Like,
so overall, I like the show. I think it's a fun show. It doesn't have direction. It doesn't have like there's a big baddie. Although it seems like maybe they were hinting at it on one of the episodes where they had these 4 guys who had robbed an Asgardian construction worker and was trying to use his tools to get the jump on She-Hulk to get some of her blood. That seems to be like leading to a bigger plot. Maybe that's what the second half of the season will be. I know they dropped the trailer for the second half of the season. I have not watched it, but
it seems like Wrecking Crew is going to be like the big group that she has to deal with the most. Because they got away.
Or were they working for somebody? Where they work? It didn't seem like
either way. Brains. Yeah.
But
either way, I think we're gonna see more out of that.
Right,
sure.
And
we're not even halfway through here. Like, we got 9 episodes coming.
Okay,
in total, we're only 4 out of it.
And we know Matt Murdock's going to be in this to some degree. From the first trailer, I hope that we see him in both forms. I hope we see him in the courtroom as much as in costume.
Well, I would imagine. Like, I don't see why they would bring him into the show without having him be in the courtroom for some degree.
Sure.
I think the big thing here is that Charlie Cox himself came out saying, talking about Daredevil Reborn or Born Again, or I can't remember the title of the show.
Yeah.
That it is season 1. It is not season 4. Like that was his phrasing around it.
Right.
We are not going to see the same Daredevil that we saw from the Netflix trilogy of seasons, which I hate that a lot, actually. But at the same time, I feel like he would not sign on for a version of Daredevil that wouldn't be as good.
Sure. I mean, because his other comments in that interview was like, if you're going to return to something, start anew. Do it fresh. And
I think there's still going to be some darkness to him, but there's absolutely has to be a lighter side for him to fit in with this show. And
especially with this
I'm
show.
prepared for that. Like I'm prepared for that.
I do not think he's lying. I don't think he's lying at all. However, I don't think nobody else has completely come out and said Netflix is completely 100% not canon. I think if they're smart, they will keep it as gray as possible. I think because we're going to see him in She-Hulk. The next time we see him and Fisk will be in Echo. And I believe Echo, that show, will give us a redefined, a alternate kind of history of Fisk. Because we know his origins, the dark origins, the brutal father and everything from the Netflix thing. I think Echo might kind of redefine him a little bit and give him a slightly different origin. So it's Netflix isn't canon, but I think they'll probably have it a little more gray than black and white, just so that it blends. I can't imagine they would do it so abruptly that it doesn't blend at all, because why not? Why not just be like, hey, if you want to watch them, they kind of work. We're never going to really reference them, but we're not, I can't imagine them making it so abrupt that it wouldn't make sense to watch those at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm prepared for the new iteration.
Again. It's called Daredevil Born Again. I don't think it's going to start from day one, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, She-Hulk. I'm excited to see where it goes. They recently had D23, which they dropped some interesting stuff at. Not a lot of big things. A lot of people were like, hey, San Diego Comic-Con had a lot of blank spots on the screen. They're probably saving it for D23 in terms of Marvel. They didn't really do that. They didn't really have announcements. They more had updates on previous announcements, which is fine, I guess. I mean, it wasn't mind-blowing, but they did talk about some cool stuff.
It wasn't quite as big as I was expecting it to be, which isn't, again, like you said, it's not a bad thing. Like, I don't need too much info just yet. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be getting over the next couple of years. And so diving too deep this early and setting like super high expectations, especially with kind of like the gray area that they've been in as far as like the future of the MCU goes.
Right.
It'd probably be better to keep things a little closer to the chest at this point.
Sure. But at least they talked about things to say, well, it's not like we're not doing anything. Apparently they showed an exclusive scene from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And they had some talks about that. This was the one thing that was interesting about it. The scene, they talked about the Dora Milaje all-female Special Forces unit from Wakanda isn't going to let it go easily. The international community is after the country's supply of vibranium in the wake of King T'Challa's death. That's something that we did not get from the trailer, so that's interesting that is a plot point. So they talked a little bit about that. They talked a little bit. Yeah. And I'm excited for that movie. They talked a little bit about Ant-Man. Nothing big out of that. They gave a wave to Matt Shackman in the audience. Kevin Feige was like, by the way, Matt's going to be helming Fantastic Four. We're not going to bring him on stage because we don't really have anything else to share with you right now about that. But he's right there. So they've officially announced him as helming the Fantastic Four, which comes out a year from now.
Okay.
The Captain America info was interesting though, because they're bringing back Tim Blake Nelson from the Incredible Hulk, and I thought that was really interesting.
That was probably honestly probably the most surprising thing to me. But I
Very surprising.
I really like him though.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been an actor I've liked ever since I saw him in Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. That was a
He
good
like
movie.
yeah, and his character was great in Holes also.
Sure.
Uh,
He's always great. He's great.
yeah, he always does a good job. Ballad of Buster Scruggs was like another one where he's just like dorking around, having a good time. Like that was good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty surprising. But I
I mean,
had
they brought
to
back Tim Roth from that movie, so I guess why not bring back
yeah yeah
Tim Blake Nelson? So that'll be interesting. I'm sure he'll look different. I'm sure he's not going to have the super swelly head, weird CGI head that he had at the end of Incredible Hulk,
yeah.
but he's coming back as the leader, so I'm excited.
Which I mean is what they teased at like the end of that movie,
Right.
is that he got a little bit of that in his brain, and like so he's kind of running into the same thing.
Can I ask you this? What do you really think it's called New World Order? Because that just sounds like a fake title.
it does, and they did that before.
They did it with Serpent
that
Society. Yeah.
yeah, so that makes it even harder to believe at this point. But I don't know what they would call it.
I don't know why. It just doesn't sound like the
and
right title.
I don't know what they would. This is probably a good thing. Like I don't know what they would call it that would be like a big reveal,
Right.
that they would like obscure the actual title for.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now that if that's their holdback, then it must be big. Like it must be huge.
Could be. I mean, it's 2 years
But
out. So
I don't know. It could be it could be the playing safe for the first return back to Captain America world. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
A big reveal was the Thunderbolts was announced, and this is going to be a movie coming out in summer of 2024, not a TV show. And it's basically, Marvel's kind of Suicide Squad. I was interested in the lineup. I did not expect Winter Soldier to be in there. I did not expect David Harbour to be
I
back.
did not expect Ghost. Ghost was the surprise for me.
I had heard Ghost was going to be a part of it for a while. I mean, I guess I don't know why, and I don't know why Black Widow would be working for Elaine after the events of Hawkeye. Like she's trying to get her to kill Hawkeye. So I don't know why Winter Soldier would be working with what's his name, U.S. Agent. This is a weird cast, especially since they're like these guys kind of all have the same power. They're not there's not a lot of variety in power other than like Ghost and Taskmaster. It's a weird lineup, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's
and I'm sure Zima is going to be a part of it to some degree as well.
Oh, he's going to be the main villain. I fucking
Alan told
maybe
me
not
that
even the main
same
villain,
thing.
but
I just can't see him being a villain. I feel like they haven't, based on his prior
not necessarily like the villain, like as you would like as
he's
you
just
would
not
be
formidable or whatever the word I'm trying to say.
Well, not in the iterations that we've seen him in so far, but
no, I like him as a character. I just can't see him being
like
the big bad.
I don't know about him being necessarily a villain, but him being like their target. But at the same time, like you would then have to explain how he got away from the Wakandans, which
right. Well, they brought him to the raft. Is that what it's called? The raft? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they brought him to the raft.
I could have sworn that's what they said, but maybe they didn't.
The Wakandans took him. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about that show. That might be kind of telling.
Well, so that's what I'm kind of surprised this is a movie and not a show. I kind of expect these folks to be involved more in a show.
Honestly, I'm kind of happier that it's a movie than a show.
Like, maybe it'll be more tight.
Yeah.
But it's quite the lineup indeed. So that was announced. Let's see here. They talked about the Marvels a little bit. Did you see the red carpet stuff for what's her name? Brie Larson. You did not
Nope.
see that? I wanna pull this up because it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. It's kind of irritating. I'm not the biggest fan of the Miss Marvel or the Marvel. What am I trying to say?
I mean, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel show. Not a fan. I'm not a big fan of that movie. I'm a big fan of Brie Larson. I'm a big fan of Brie Larson. I think she's great. And I'm gonna bring this over. Can you see this? Yeah, you can.
Yep.
So let's see if you can hear this. Variety was on the red or blue carpet, and they asked her, how much longer are you gonna play Captain Marvel, or how long are you gonna continue to play this? And this is her answer.
Play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
Don't be so modest.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
How long will you play Captain Marvel?
Did they speed it up or
They
something
didn't.
like that?
They didn't speed it up. She
The fucking the camera stabilization was bugging the shit out of
was
me. But
bugging the shit out. Yeah, I get that. She's
Yeah,
clearly
that-
irritated, and probably rightfully so. I mean, anytime you look up the comments of all these videos, and half of them are like, "That bitch deserves to go. She's talentless and she sucks, and we don't want her anyway." And
I haven't heard any of that since like her movie came out.
Mhm.
Like when her movie came out, yes, there was a blow up, and honestly, it was kind of her fault because like she kind of poked that bear a little bit too much.
She poked it.
With some
Sure.
comments that she made. Like she started it. Sure enough, like they're gonna fucking finish it, and they're dickheads about it.
But she was fine as the character. I think if your
Ye-
thing is that the movie sucked, I think it's more the writing and less her.
I don't think it had anything to do with her. Like the movie itself, I just wasn't happy with. And
Yeah.
honestly, like her appearance in
Endgame?
Endgame kind of felt the same. Like
Well, that's because they didn't know what to
it was
do
a-
with her.
Yeah, like I feel like she came into the MCU too early, or too late. Like it would have been better if she had been in there like earlier on, like maybe around like every now and then, every time I think about it, I always wonder is like, hey, it would have been great if you had shown up around like Age of Ultron, around in that era, like not necessarily like in Avengers Age of Ultron, but around in that phase when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out and things were starting to get cosmic.
Mhm.
And then kind of like explain, like, because then it would have been, instead of like this ex machina moment in Endgame where she shows up and destroys the ship out of nowhere, and she's like just this mega nuke that shows up out of
Mhm.
absolutely nowhere, like,
Mhm.
and they had to explain it away by saying, it was like, oh well, where were you when Thanos was here? It's like there's a lot of
They literally
universes here. It's like,
yeah. They
it's like,
just they
let's-
wrote her out of the movie
just-
and then they
yeah,
brought her back
like-
at the end. Yeah.
like it didn't serve her character right.
Right.
So I don't like, this isn't her fault. Like the fucking showrunners or the movie runners who like wanted to bring her character in, it's like you could have left her out of Endgame completely.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're gonna
she
bring her
didn't-
in, at least give her something to do. Don't
Yeah,
they
she
literally
didn't-
brought her in and then wrote a reason for her to leave. Never went back to that reason, and then she showed up at the end.
She didn't need to be there, and that's not her fault. Like
Well, I think
the show brought her in at a weird time, and it didn't.
I think the
And I
Russo
say the
brothers
show,
just
but,
didn't
like,
know
the-
what to do with her power set, just like they kind of neutered the Hulk. She's just so powerful that in their storyline, it just didn't
we
make sense
needed-
for her to be there. They
we
kind of
needed
needed her to be
stakes.
away. Yeah.
We needed high stakes, and when you've got a character who's as strong as she is, like that that removes a lot of the stakes.
Yeah.
And so that's a troublesome thing. And the other part of it is that we still haven't had a moment where she's like been humanized again. Like
Right.
she's back into the cosmic stuff, and they keep writing her as this stoic,
Yeah.
like super capable chick. And it was like, no, we need flaws. Like we need to see some flaws. We need to see some fuck ups, and we're not getting any of that. It's just like, oh, she's unavailable. Like,
Right.
no, come on, guys. You got like her character not doing great in the MCU is absolutely not Brie Larson's fault. And I feel like if she was given the room to fucking, like, her next appearance is going to be around another like major character now. Like she's not even getting like her own film.
It's true, but
Like-
it might be what she needs. It's going to be, it might be more of a mentor role for Kamala Khan, and it could be a more humanizing role. If this Nia DaCosta and the writers of that show know how to present her better, that it could be what she needs. We'll find out next summer, but I want to see more of her.
Yeah.
I think there is a fan base. I think there's just a loud sector of
I mean,
of
the
haters.
the worst voices are always the loudest.
Continuing on, there was a trailer for Werewolf by Night, which is a short Halloween special. Just like we're going to have a holiday special with Guardians of the Galaxy. They did not drop a Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, but they did for Werewolf by Night. Would you like to watch that, Seth?
Let's go ahead and dive right into that.
All right, let's do that.
Go back to the beginning. Give me a countdown. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it separately here.
I just meant to do large. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, click. I like this fancy intro.
That felt very very VHS-y.
Mm-hmm.
You can't escape the shock, the terror of Werewolf by Night.
Tonight,
Is that Jessica Jones?
No.
For themselves.
Kind of looks like her, though.
I'll be rotting for you.
But one of you is a monster, masquerading as one of our own.
I don't know who any of these
Wait
people
to
are.
Find out what breed of evil you are.
Werewolf action.
You wanna see this, darling?
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you!
A cigarette burn too? Shit.
Okay, there's a glimpse of Man Thing.
Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
It was definitely something I was not expecting. So, yeah, I was not expecting that, but it's different.
I'm underwhelmed. Like it didn't really do anything for me.
It's a short. I don't think it's supposed to be anything crazy, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be fun. I saw Man Thing in there.
If anything, I wonder if that's where they're going to reveal Blade.
Oh, maybe. Going forward, they talked about Ironheart a little bit. And Secret Invasion came out. That was the big reveal, was Secret Invasion. We'll watch that in a second. They talked about Armor Wars, which we had mentioned was not talked about at San Diego Comic-Con. We're like, where's Armor Wars? Who plays Rhodey? Don Cheadle recently gave an interview that says, yes, Armor Wars is coming. It's actually going to follow suit after Secret Invasion, but he also said he's no longer under contract at Marvel. So I wonder what that means. I wonder if I love Don Cheadle, and I love every time he's on screen in Marvel. I wonder if he's just saying, does that mean he's not locked in? Is that why we haven't got an official announcement for Armor Wars?
Ironheart's going to need a mentor in that world of some kind, and who better?
Right. So maybe he's just acting outside of contract now, and he doesn't need to be locked in.
He's not going to say shit.
Yeah.
He knows better.
He did say that, which is interesting. Yeah. They talked about Loki season 2. One of the announcements was that Ki-Hu Kwan is going to be in this, who not only played Short Round in Indiana Jones, but he was one of the leads in that Everything Everywhere at Once.
I heard about that.
Which was,
apparently he did really good too.
He was great in that. But the fact that there's a picture behind the scenes of him and Harrison Ford meeting up backstage, and it's Short Round meeting up with Harrison Ford, after so long. They talked
Are
about
we gonna watch the Secret Invasion trailer?
We are. I was just giving a second. It was just they talked about Echo and they talked about Daredevil. We've already talked about that. So yeah, if you want to watch Secret Invasion,
let's dive into here
that.
too.
Let me make that big. I did not want to press play yet. Let's go back. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, click. Light in the sky. It's the origin of Thin Man, Slender Man. Nope.
For years,
Oh, he's got a little scruffy.
Mm-hmm.
I have called for your help plenty of other times, and you've been pretty content to let those calls go straight to voicemail.
Yeah, give him some shit.
Yeah, well, this is different.
Yeah, why is he so scruffy? He seemed to be relaxing in space last time we saw him.
Security detail.
I don't know, man. The lazier I get, the more my beard grows.
Yay, Martin.
Hey,
Fury, we gotta be very careful now.
whoa.
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us. This is just the beginning.
This is my war.
Is that Amelia Clark?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm the last person standing between them and what they really want. And what was that?
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, that's got to have like that Winter Soldier level of espionage in it.
It really does, doesn't it?
And it's a win. Like
Yeah.
if it has that, then it's a win.
Not to mention it has 2 queens in it. Daenerys, what was her name? Amelia Clark,
Yep.
and Olivia Colman. That's great casting. Those are 2 big heavy hitters.
I didn't know she was in it. Like I didn't know Amelia Clark was in this.
Yeah. I mean, she's great. She's great. I'm glad she's in this instead of another.
She's one of my
Terminator
major.
movie.
She's one of my major crushes. I recognized her voice like right away. Like, oh boom, there's she. Holy shit, that's shit.
Well, it looks good. It looks grounded. I like that it's centered around Fury. And I like the espionage aesthetic. Martin Freeman being in it. I mean, this looks like kind of a Invasion of the Body Snatchers with spies, and stuff going on. It looks
Dude,
great.
the worst kind of spies too that you'd ever have to fucking deal with is fucking shapeshifters. Like shit. What in the fuck do you do?
I'm really interested in this because we were just talking about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel introduced us to Skrulls in a way that was different than the comics. In the comics, this was our introduction to the Skrulls, and they were all villains. And Captain Marvel seemed to suggest they're not all villains. So which is it? Is this a small faction of villainous Skrulls? Is the group of Skrulls that we've met so far the small faction of good Skrulls, and then there's a bigger story here? Doesn't seem to like Talos is in the loop. So
I can't help but wonder if it's some sort of like political thing that's stopping them from being able to come, and like Fury's been trying to like hold it off for a while, and they've just decided, well, we're just going to come anyway. You can't tell,
right?
Like,
because what has he been doing out there, and why did he get all scruffy?
Yeah.
Last time we saw him, he was on a simulated beach, just like living the life in space. So I can't wait for this. This looks great. It looks great. It's coming in 2023. I don't think they gave an official premiere date, but it's coming in 2023. And it's got some more of Rhodes in there, which is great. I love anything with Rhodey in there. So good stuff. That was all of Marvel stuff for D23. At least they gave us that trailer, but again, this was already officially announced, so nothing new outside of that witch outside of that werewolf by night thing. So a little underwhelming, but whatever. They gave us some other stuff.
I gotta look to see what the next release is
For Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel Disney Plus, you mean?
Well, just Marvel in general, because that's generally when we're going to start seeing.
We have
some more
Wakanda
reveals.
Forever is the next movie.
When though?
That's in November, isn't it?
It's very close. Forever release November 11th.
Yeah, so it's on the horizon.
Yeah, the closer we like, the more into October we like. I think they're saving a Blade reveal for October. They're gonna make that kind of Halloweeny.
Maybe I could see that.
I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah, because there was nothing Blade related at D23 at all. So
yeah, they've continuously teased it through some back channels and some of the other properties and stuff like that. So I feel like that's like right around the corner, but they wanted to wait until the right time, and Halloween is the right time to reveal that character.
Yep,
for sure.
Well, moving on, because we're already an hour and a half into this podcast. They did drop some Star Wars stuff. They finally dropped a teaser trailer for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, let's dive into that, because I didn't know about that one until today. Because again, I was trying to avoid all this stuff so we could watch them together. But
I get it. Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, click.
This is the one that you saved?
I've been waiting for this trailer. There have been leaked versions on Twitter all summer, but not like an official one.
A clan of 2.
Oh, they both have spotlights.
But you have removed your helmet. Then you are a Mandalorian. No more.
Itch says who? Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy she's back.
Your cult fractured our people.
Oh.
Where were you then?
That's cool.
Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?
Only Chrome Mandalorian, apparently.
All right, kid. Hang on. You ready for an adventure?
Full dad mode. They're like, we're gonna forget about that.
That was a good one.
We're gonna forget about the second season where we dropped you off somewhere else. We're full back into that. So
yeah, man. Like, honestly, though, I feel like it's for the best. Like, it might have been a misstep for them to like lead Luke into the end of that season, because then they had to backtrack. They'd be like, well, shit, right? Kylo did destroy like fucking everything. If we tell them that he killed Grogu, they're gonna kill us all. They're gonna.
I mean, it was a cool episode in Boba Fett for sure, but yeah,
it was like the best 2 episodes of Boba Fett. That was fucking around Mandalorian's character.
Yeah, and then we're right back into it. So I am excited for this. I'm glad we're seeing more of Mandalore. Yeah, it looks great. I can't wait.
I don't have much to say. I just want to see it. Just give it to me now.
But starting next week, we get Andor, and they did drop a final trailer. It's a very short trailer. Did you watch the last Andor trailer?
Yeah, and that one was good. Like it was amazing. That one was one of the ones that I did a reaction to. Like I actually posted that one.
and I did watch your reaction.
yeah,
that was an amazing trailer.
Yeah, that trailer was really good.
Music,
and this series looks really good.
I would suggest not watching this. I don't know if it spoils anything, but I watched it and it was just like, you should just left with the last one. Like the last one's a better trailer. It is. They talked about Ahsoka, and they revealed some stuff there. They talked about a movie called The Skeleton Crew, which stars Jude Law, which is going to be in the Star Wars universe.
They say a group of younglings lost in space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then they did a Clone Wars episode of that already, but okay.
Yeah, and Jude Law's a part of it, so he's clearly not a youngling. But
they always had a teacher with him.
That's true. This just looks like his character from Captain Marvel, though.
It does. Like when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, did they fuck that up a little bit?" I was like, "Is he back?" Like what? Okay.
But you got the little. All these are the little, the doorbell things from the palaces. That's the only thing I recognize. Bad Batch 2. They gave a date for that, January 4th, and then they gave a trailer for Jedi. Have you heard about this yet? Have you seen this yet?
I had heard about it. I held off on it though. If you want to watch this one, I'm game.
Let me pull it up here. I did not press play. Stop. Oh my gosh. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Everywhere there is life, but you must face death.
Padme,
Honor it.
That's sad. Why you bring me back to that?
Jedi. Ahsoka is Jedi.
The best way I can protect you is to teach you how to protect yourself.
Master Dooku.
Okay.
I want to bring peace and order to the galaxy.
Oh, you sound like Alan Rickman.
Kind of does, yeah.
It is the only way you will truly have victory.
My Padawan.
A young Qui-Gon?
Again. Dooku, stand down.
I'm tired of fighting.
I've been warning them about the coming darkness. Let's hope all that training pays off. And who might you be?
Oh, we're gonna see the tale of her defeating the Inquisitor.
Was that Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon was Dooku's apprentice.
Was he? I totally forgot about that. I'm excited for this. I hope short doesn't mean 10 minutes or less, because otherwise I feel like that 2-minute trailer gave a lot of stuff away for a 10-minute short. I kind of wish this was more like just an ongoing series that was longer than 6 episodes, where Bad Batch is like 12 episodes. We just get 12 kind of like What If.
It looked like they were all like completely different stories, which
would be fine. Like What If was a season of completely different animated things.
I'm into that. It's kind of like also like Star Wars Visions, where they're just like, hey, these aren't connected, just dive in.
But they're furthering the lore. I would love that. If I hope this does well and they decide to do that, because
that's what it looks like. I'm into that.
I want more of that.
That looks really good.
I can never get enough of Ahsoka's story and of seeing more of Anakin, and it just looks great. It looks like maybe Ahsoka was at Padme's funeral, which would be interesting.
Yeah, she was like sneaky in there. Like that would have been I guess it wouldn't really been that risky, but still seems a little risky.
And then if you want to go even younger, there's Young Jedi Adventures, an animated series created for preschoolers set in the High Republic era.
I don't need to see that one. I don't let that one go.
Well, look, there's a little blue Ewok, or maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that was all of Star Wars. Lucasfilm talked about Indiana Jones, and they released another trailer for Willow. Disney came out and released a trailer for The Little Mermaid. Did you see that trailer?
I did.
Did you get livid and pissed like half of the loud people on Twitter did because Ariel's a different skin color? No? Okay, that means you're a rational person.
She's already a mythical creature. Like,
Yeah, just like elves, just like dwarves.
I don't know that like a black mermaid, like she's a black mermaid. It's like she's a fucking mermaid. It was like wasn't that you can't suspend your disbelief past fucking half fish.
There was a group on Facebook that got taken down called Christians Against the Little Mermaid, and the whole thing was, we raised our kids on white mermaids. They can't change this now. And then all these other groups showed up. Humans against this group, and mermaids against this group, and Christians against this group. And then that group got taken down. It was a teaser trailer, guys. There's nothing. I don't even care if you're trying to say, oh, I'm not pissed about that. It just looks like shit. It didn't show anything. Like, it was like a 60-second trailer that only showed her and a little bit of sea life. Do I have high hopes for this show or this movie? No.
The singing was good.
Singing was fine. I don't have high hopes for this movie at all. Is it because of Holly or Haley? I don't know how to say her name. Holly Bailey? No, I think
it's Halle, but
she'll be fine.
Like Halle Berry, I think.
I'm sure she'll be fine. I
have total faith that Disney is going to fuck this into the dirt like all their other live action remakes.
That's why I don't think it'll be good, because the majority of their live action stuff sucks.
They seem to be putting in like the least amount of effort.
Yeah, they really do.
Like even the latest Pinocchio like is apparently running into the exact same problem.
And that didn't go to theaters for a reason. Like it went straight to streaming.
Yeah, like the Lion King. Like I finally watched that. It took a long time. It was a few months back, but I finally watched that. And my God, like how
it was underwhelming. It was lackluster.
You know, it makes me. Oh God, the most relatable thing that I can do to it, that I can compare all of these remakes to, basically. Kind of think of like your favorite musician on the planet, your absolute favorite musician on the planet. They're not playing live very much anymore, and so it's hard to get in there to see a show. And so you find out that there's a cover band playing down the street. You go and you see this cover band, and like they've just it's a cover band. Like you can't touch the original sometimes. Like you just can't. And it's even weirder when most of these Disney movies like still hold up. Like there was, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if we just haven't scrolled down far enough, but apparently there was an Atlantis live action make announced with Andrew Garfield. I don't know I don't know if it's true because I didn't look into it.
If there was, I didn't hear about it. It's not on here. I don't think that was true.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a lot of rumors. Like there's a lot of rumors that didn't actually come out that weekend.
That one would make me mad. Be like, no, why? It works. Just remaster the animated versions of these into like high definition and release those.
Sure.
Like people will buy them all over again. And then you're not spending $300 gajillion on doing a live action CGI remake of Mulan and fucking it up. Like, just give us the fucking original version of Mulan that you guys already did it. You've already got it. It's already done. Just re-release it.
Right.
Like higher quality. Give us like collector's editions. I'll buy it again.
Well, Disney plays it safe a lot of the time. And how do they make money off their old properties? They make live action adaptions. And I will say that I did like Beauty and the Beast. I know a lot of people didn't. And even though I cannot stand Josh Gad, I did like Beauty and the Beast for the most part. And apparently they're doing the same thing with Little Mermaid. They're adding new songs in a Little Mermaid, which is interesting.
Oh, good, because that's never gone badly.
Right. And Melissa McCarthy is Ursula, which I'm just
yeah. You when you were over at the place the other day, you mentioned that, and honestly, I was still like, you know what, she looks like she could fit the part.
but I
Like-
just don't like her. Anyway,
she doesn't give me like an evil vibe that you would expect out of Ursula, you know?
no.
Like Melissa McCarthy, like I've seen her in too many like comedic things, but I also don't know who I would put into that part.
I would. Sorry
How
about this.
dare you?
I would put Devil Wears Prada if we were being serious with it.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I think she'd be amazing.
Meryl Streep.
Streep,
She'd kill it.
she'd fucking kill it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, she would play the
Uh,
fuck out of a villain like that.
But that would be a serious movie. They continued on. They talked about Snow White live action remake. So they're just going down the line.
They're really hamming it in. Who'd they say?
Rachel Zellweger will be
Zellweger?
Rachel
Ziegler?
Ziegler. Rachel Ziegler. Yeah. She was in West Side. She's great, actually. But I'm not excited for that.
I don't recognize her.
She was the lead.
And they
in
say
West Side
Gal
Story.
Gadot is the evil queen, huh?
Yeah.
I don't buy her. I don't buy that.
Well, we'll see.
Don't they have like a Maleficent already? Like
I guess they're just no, because she's a good one. She's good in those movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Hocus Pocus 2 was announced. Mufasa, the Lion King.
It was announced. That was announced a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mufasa is the official prequel to the Lion King. So you finally saw the Lion King. Now you can see the prequel.
I won't. Based off of that, I don't think I will.
Yeah. Peter Pan. They're making another live action Peter Pan. This time with Jude Law as Hook, which will come out on Disney Plus. So
Disney's got Jude Law on retainer at this point. Damn.
I guess they do. They've got a Haunted Mansion movie coming out with Jamie Lee Curtis. They released a trailer for Disenchanted. I liked Enchanted. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, it was okay.
So this is the sequel to that.
I wasn't like super into it, but
I liked this trailer. This trailer looked fun, so I would suggest going and watching that.
Okay.
So that was fun. They released a trailer for the next Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. So they won't bring him back for Lightyear, but they'll bring him back for Santa Claus.
That's gonna be a mistake.
Well,
that ain't gonna go well. Like,
it's
you want to? We want to watch the trailer for that one. You want
to do that right quick? Sure.
Yeah, this is gonna be. This is gonna be terrible. I'm not even gonna sync it up on my side. I'll just watch it from here.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Attention, everyone. Santa has an announcement to make.
A series.
For the good of Christmas.
I'm giving it to my son.
For the good of my family. I, Santa Claus, have decided to retire. We have a grease counselor, right?
Okay, so another one.
Become Santa Claus.
Yes. Can't wait to rub this in Brady's face.
All I do is
Give us your best ho ho ho.
Oh, okay, here we go. Ho, ho, Omaha! Omaha! You see that? I called a little audible there.
Anyhow, thanks so much.
I sing, by the way.
No, Brady can sing.
slay all day, slaying anything and anyone that's in my way. You just good, but I'm so cool.
That's me.
All I do is slay.
So
The fuck?
That's coming out in November as well. So we'll have a lot of Marvel to talk about.
What the fuck was that? Is that a movie? Is that a movie or is it a show?
It's a show. It's a show. So,
2 episode premiere date. Oh, stoked.
So November is kind of big. We got Wakanda Forever on the 11th. We've got this on November 16th, and we've got Disenchanted on November 24th. So
Tim Allen is out of money.
Yeah.
That's what happened there. Tim Allen's out of money, and who the fuck was that? Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning needed everybody reminded that he's alive.
They also dropped a teaser trailer for Percy Jackson. They're rebooting that. It looks like they didn't show the kid, but it sounds and kind of looks from the back like the kid from that recent Ryan Reynolds film where he plays the young Ryan Reynolds. I like that kid. They also dropped a trailer for the National Treasure Show.
That actually might not be too bad because those movies could have been better.
Percy Jackson. It could be good.
an 8-episode Disney Plus adaptation. See, that makes sense though, because like that was a book.
Sure.
Give us a show.
Sure.
People say that all the time. I'll give that one a pass.
National Treasure, however, on the other hand, is a.
I heard about that.
It does not have Nicolas Cage, and I'm not interested.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I was just like, I don't give a shit.
It's got Catherine Zeta-Jones in it, though. She's making a resurgence in Hollywood. So, they talked about a short series.
We gotta jump through this stuff. I'm looking at here, and like we're losing interest like fast.
I'm sorry, Zootopia is around, and they announced some other things. So yeah,
is that a Disney Pixar show for
Zootopia?
A futuristic version of Lagos, Nigeria, when it hits Disney Plus. Okay, I thought that was.
Yeah, Strange World. They dropped a trailer for this in theaters.
I remember. Yeah, I saw that in the theater. My last. What movie was that?
Was that in front of? Was that in front of Top Gun? It was in front of something this summer, or maybe it was in front of Thor.
It was in front of a bunch of. It was definitely in front of Thor. That was where I saw it.
So, and that has Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Interesting. I did not know that. And then they talked about theme parks, and that's where that picture from the top came from, is that they're going to have a ride with King Thanos and an alternate version where he won. So that'll be one of the big rides coming to the theme park.
That'll be another ride that I won't see.
Yeah. There's so many now. I don't have the time to go and spend a whole weekend standing in line. So yeah, that was D23. A lot of stuff, a lot of not stuff. I mean, it was kind of lackluster compared to last year, but there was no San Diego Comic-Con last year, so they dropped a lot of stuff at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and then kept a couple things for D23. So,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't as big as I was expecting it to be this year, like especially with all the Marvel stuff that was coming out, but. Man, what a buzzkill. We should have waited till we should have done like the Marvel shit at the end of that or something like that. Because man, that Santa Claus thing really brought me down.
I wanted to talk about Marvel CGI, but we don't have time for that. We'll talk about that next time. But hey, we can go out on top. The Emmys happened, and we already knew about this like a week or two ago, but we can celebrate it again. Arcane won an Emmy, and it deserves it. I don't know how we found out that a while ago. Maybe they like pre-released some of the Emmys. Is that what happened?
I didn't think that they didn't they like not do like a full-on show this time or something like that? Wasn't it like a?
Maybe that was the case, and they just like pre-released some stuff.
I stopped paying attention to the award shows. Like when I started seeing postings on Twitter. They were announcing Emmy winners and stuff like that, and it was like all like red carpet stuff, but I was like, is it just like the winners going up and like accepting their awards or something like that? Because I wasn't seeing any clips of announcements or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going on. But it was a while back that we
don't have to do a breakdown on it, but Ted Lasso did really well. I think Succession did really well.
Succession, I think, won best show,
which it damn well
best drama.
That shit was amazing. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it was amazing. I did feel bad for Better Call Saul. Bob Odenkirk did not win for Better Call Saul. He's been nominated several times. He's never won, and I felt bad for him.
That's what I saw most people blowing up about.
Yeah,
on Twitter was that he didn't win.
I'm not saying it's bullshit because just looking at the drama series this year, Better Call Saul, Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Yellow Jackets. That's a lot. Oh, Succession. Oh, I haven't seen Succession. I was thinking Severance. And Severance is going to have another season, so it's got time to win. But if you haven't seen
Severance was the Apple TV show, right?
Yeah, and holy shit. It was directed by Ben Stiller. It's showrun by Ben Stiller, and it stars what's-his-face from Parks and Rec, Adam Scott. Oh my God, it was good. It's so good. Squid Game had some stuff. win. Ted
See, that
Lasso
one
with a
surprised
lot of
me
stuff
because
on
I
it.
thought Squid Game came out like 2020 or something like that.
It did not. If it did, it's within whatever their time window is. The Emmys time window is weird because I think it's fall of the fall, not calendar year.
Well, then it would have had to have been sometime. It would have had to have been fall last year then, because like Squid Game, I feel like that one's been out for forever.
Well, it won for directing for a drama series. It won for lead actor, which is cool. Just scrolling down the other ones,
Especially for like a foreign language show too. Like that.
Well, and the lead actor. Did you watch Squid Game?
I started it. I started it. Cece beat me through it, and she loved it. But
lead
she
actor
made me start watching it.
He's gonna be in The Acolyte. They just announced. So that's a big thing for him, which is kind of cool. Squid Game, Ted Lasso, The White Lotus won a few different things. Saturday Night Live won variety sketch series.
How many variety sketch series shows are there out there?
It was literally only 2 nominated. So
right. Woo! Way to go, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, good job. John Oliver won for a variety talk series. Oh,
It's
and
like-
Jimmy
it's like
Kimmel
winning
pulled
the-
some shit.
It's like winning this. It's like winning the Super Bowl if there were only 2 football teams.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. That was the only other thing that blew up last night, was that he pulled this prank where he was upset that he lost. So he played dead on the stage, and this young gal won a award and had to literally walk over him and stand next to him on the mic. They had to move his body so that she could stand in front of the mic properly, and then they dragged him off after her speech. So a lot of people was like, good job, Jimmy, just making yourself part of the I don't know, just go away. But
Sounds
it's
dumb.
not funny. It's not funny. They asked her at the end, were you mad that he kind of ruined your big moment? And she's like, I don't really know how to feel now. I'll probably be pissed at him tomorrow, but I'm going to be on his show on Thursday, so I guess I can't be too pissed about it. But
Oh, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking
you
weird.
can't even say your true things about it because you're scheduled to be on his show. It's like being kidnapped or something, or held hostage or something. It's weird. Yeah. And Jennifer Coolidge won, which was fun. They tried to play her off, and she just kind of danced to the music, which was hilarious. But yeah, I didn't watch it. I saw some of the highlights this morning. So yeah. You see any other things in there you want to highlight?
Well, I'm looking at the thing, and yeah, he's just making an ass of himself.
Yeah. Well, and Twitter, of course, lit him up. Most people were like, it's not funny. Some people were like, you asshole, you took her spotlight, and you should feel ashamed. Some people were super pissed about it. Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
So just begging for attention is what it seems like. I haven't heard anything about Kimmel in a while, except for until right now. So,
right? Yeah. And then what's his name? Who voiced Lego Batman?
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. He dragged Kimmel's body out there and then dragged it back. So there's footage of after the commercial break of him dragging Kimmel's body back. Even when the cameras were off, he was still committed to the bit. But nobody there thought it was funny. They're like, just go, just go, buddy.
Fuck at it. Just get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
And then they needed to bring that. If he had collapsed right before the announcement, and then they'd had that big gold hook to pull him off, that would have been
sure.
That would have been kind of funny. They're classic. And
I felt bad for her because she even she didn't start talking at first. She was looking down at him are you okay? Is this a bit?
Yeah,
okay?
the photo that I'm looking at here, he's just lying there in this big frame, and there's a couple there's a few women on the tables behind the stage just staring at him, and
yeah, and she
they look fucking pissed.
She was looking at him and I can't tell if she was saying, "Could you move?" or asking him if he's all right. But he like gives her the thumbs up and then goes back to playing dead. And she's like, "Okay," and then does her speech. But like, what a dick! Like,
How is he still around? Like, honestly, like, he did blackface like multiple times.
well, he did a lot of stuff on the Man Show. He's like
I remember
the poster
that
child for
that
redemption,
specifically.
I guess, or lucky or something. I don't know about redemption, but maybe just luck. He's survived a lot, but it was just dumb. Like, why be a dick? Like, go ruin somebody else's spotlight, or do it more off to the side.
Why don't you do it in front of the fucking guy who like you lost to?
Yeah, do it in front of John Oliver. He might have got a kick out of it.
He would have fucking made jokes. Like, he would have fucking been able to rib off of that. Like, it doesn't make sense. It wasn't his category there. Like, fucking doesn't make any sense.
It's weird.
It's fucking weird. What a weird note to end it on.
It's better than the Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's better than the Santa Claus. Man, that fucking goddamn Tim Allen is out of money. That's breaking news.
Yeah,
like,
I guess that Lightyear really hurt him. I want to talk, and next time we get together, I want to talk about this interesting video that we both watched.
I want to do some more research. I watched it, and yeah, like, I'm not at all surprised that Marvel would be involved in some sketchy shit around the way that they treat the people making their empire. But
I mean, I think it's part of a bigger thing. Every time we hear about the future of Marvel, it sounds cool to us, but I guess it sounds horrible to all the people that work there.
So, well, it reminds me of the video game industry a lot too, because like those people kind of in a very similar field, running into very similar problems, being expected to churn a new video game out every year, and in a world of constant upgrades. Like, I feel like it's going to be the same thing. But yeah, I want to do some more research. I don't want to just watch one video and like base everything around it at that point.
Of course not. I think that was an opener, because I had some other stuff to talk about. Thor dropped some behind the scenes stuff and some extra deleted scenes, and I think that's part of the conversation.
And some of it pissed me off even more. We're like, oh, so you had good ideas and you scrapped those?
Yeah, but it's a larger conversation than just that. So let's get back together, and maybe next week and talk about that, because I think there's plenty to talk about on just that.
I agree.
But we've already been here for almost 2 hours now, and I think it's time to call it a night.
Man. That was a good episode. I'm happy to wrap it up here at this point. Fuck the Santa Claus. I don't want to see that shit. Thanks for watching, Nerfherders. We appreciate it. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. Be honest. We can take it. Nobody else can see it anyway. So fucking smash it. I don't give a shit. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure that you do not miss out on our next live broadcast. We just kind of go whenever we want to at this point. Hit me up on Twitter at Nerfherders Crew. You can talk to me directly, find out what I'm following at the time, and just randomly what I'm up to. Be a part of the conversation. Don't forget to hit us up in those comments. And until next time, have a good one.